And I spoke to ANU Middle East expert Ian Parmeter a short time ago and started by asking him about the most recent developments in the truce talks.
Well, nothing much has happened today yet. It's still only 9 o'clock in the morning in Cairo. So, but the negotiations will resume quite soon, I should think. At this stage, an encouraging sign is that the CIA director, Bill Burns, has joined the talks. And being a person whose time is very valuable, he really only gets involved when he thinks that he can help to nudge the negotiations along. At this stage, although there's a Hamas delegation in Cairo, there doesn't seem to be a formal Egyptian delegation, a formal Israeli delegation in Cairo either. As far as the Israelis are concerned, it seems that they feel that they've put their proposal on the table and the ball is now in Hamas's court, and it's up to the Americans and the Egyptians and possibly the Qataris, if they're there at the moment, to persuade Hamas to accept what Israel has offered. Now, what Israel has offered is interesting. It goes beyond what they've been prepared to offer previously. It appears to be a 40-day ceasefire in exchange for something like 33 hostages to be released. Now, if that's the case, it would be a much longer period of ceasefire than we've seen in the past, and it would provide enormous relief for the civilians in Gaza and, of course, enable food and much-needed medical aid to get there. But we'll just simply have to wait to see if the negotiations will work. The big sticking point is how long the ceasefire is for. Hamas is demanding a permanent ceasefire and still demands that Israeli military forces leave Gaza entirely and that there be no attack on Rafah. Israel is refusing those points. It's saying that the ceasefire will be only temporary and they will reserve the right still to invade Rafah when they feel that it will suit their strategic interest to do so in terms of their attack on Hamas. And at the same time, they will still insist that Hamas be completely removed from any sense of running or authority within Gaza.
Ian, how much pressure is Benjamin Netanyahu under?
He's under an enormous amount of pressure at the moment. He's under pressure, first of all, from the right-wing members of his own cabinet, particularly the individuals Smotrich and Ben-Gvir, who are very, very hard line. This cabinet of Netanyahu's is said to be the most hard line in Israeli history. Now, so he's under pressure from them, and they refuse to make any concessions to Hamas. And they have said they'll walk out of the coalition if Netanyahu appears to be making serious concessions, which would mean that Hamas could survive. At the same time, he's under enormous pressure from the families and supporters of the hostages, who are increasingly demonstrating and obviously very, very concerned about the fate of their loved ones, who have been held for something like 200 days now in Gaza, in really very, very difficult conditions. At the same time, the third pressure is from the United States, because all of this happening in Gaza is a big distraction from Biden's re-election campaign, and it's dividing the forces that would normally work in his favor. Young progressive Democrats are very angry with Biden for the support that he's giving Israel, and at the same time, Arab Americans who normally do vote Democrat are angry as well. And if those two groups, young progressive Democrats and Arab Americans, decide to not to go out and vote, they won't vote for Trump under any circumstances. But if they decide not to vote at all in November, they could hand the election to Trump by default. So Biden has a lot riding on trying to end the Gaza crisis as soon as he can.
We've almost run out of time, but Ian, Israel's main opposition issued a statement. What did he say?
Well, this is from Yair Lapid, who actually was Prime Minister up until about 16, 17 months ago. And he has demanded that Netanyahu work harder on a hostage release deal. He's noted that Israel doesn't appear to have a negotiating team in Gaza at the moment, and he has issued a statement demanding that Netanyahu send the negotiating team to Cairo. I should have said Cairo earlier, to take part in the negotiations along with the Americans and the Egyptians and with Hamas. So we'll just have to see if that happens. But as I've said earlier, from Netanyahu's perspective, the ball is now in Hamas's court. Netanyahu has made the offer and doesn't see it as being negotiable. So that's why he hasn't sent a team to Cairo at this point.
Ian Parmeter, thank you so much for your time and expertise.
You're welcome.